Welcome in. Come one, come all to the Alarm Fantasy Football Show. Let's do it.
Come
We
on.
got we got some of the Fantasy Alarm family already here in the front row. Millie Mills hanging out, getting his question in early. We got people trickling in to the back row today. Everybody's favorite show, right, Howard? The waiver wire show a little hectic. Everybody a little on edge. You got to get those claims in. You don't know whether to use your priority or not. This show, this is where you get to ask all the fun questions. We'll take whatever you want. If you still got waivers, I know, Scott Fishbowl just ran. Some people have late waivers. Get them in. You got trades, get them in. Start sits is the big one for today as Millie Mills is already getting in. So feel free to ask those questions today. And we're going to go through Howard and I, take a quick look at, Thursday night football. We'll hit on our favorite matchups, our favorite starts, our favorite sits. And if you were on them last week, I mean, not to toot our own horn, but we kind of crushed on those ones last week. So we'll go through all that. Yeah, bait. We've even got a little underdog play for you here. So good show here. But Howard, how you doing, brother? How's it rocking over there?
I'm doing real well, man. It's been a very strong first 2 weeks of the season, and now coming here into week 3. I wrote this in our watch list, our DFS watch list over at fantasyalarm.com. Week 3 is traditionally a big week for us. We've got 2 weeks worth of data in there. We're identifying different changes in coaching tendencies, things like that. So for me, this is great. Like I said, I grabbed a couple of guys off of waivers, for the other day, and now we're gonna put it to the test here. We're gonna see what happens. Who did I add off of waivers?
But yeah, let's hit that quick.
Nobody crazy. Like that was the thing. Nobody crazy.
People went nuts with the Chief stuff, and they're like, "Oh, dude, it's Samaje Perine. No, it's Carson Steele. Well, wait a second. Now it's Kareem Hunt." It's like, dude, you know what? The answer might be that it's nobody, and it's a big split, and they're just going to throw more. I mean, this team, you take this team, Howard, last year, take the wide receivers and the tight ends, put them in one bucket. They threw, not only did they throw more wide receiver screens than any other team, if you put them in one bucket, they threw 17 more than the next closest team. They like these little gadgety screens and stuff as an extension of the run game. That's why you don't get like an Isaiah Pacheco he never even had RB1 overall upside because of all this kind of riffraff they do. And I think that's kind of the way they go. And for me with Kareem Hunt, Howard, I don't know about you. People are getting excited about Kareem Hunt. I'm like, if they loved Kareem Hunt so much, why'd they sign Samaje Perine instead of Kareem Hunt?
Well, that was, and that's the funny thing. Obviously, Samaje Perine, you knew he was in, game shape when he was with Denver. The thing about it is, and why everybody is getting all hyped up about Kareem Hunt is because he does fit into Matt Nagy's system. Like Matt Nagy, Eric Bieniemy kind of pulled away from as much of the running back passing work that Matt Nagy did. Matt Nagy loves his pre-snap motion. He loves his gadget stuff. And that's why, a guy like Kareem Hunt could fit well. But for me, it's about what kind of shape is he in, and really what is his exact usage going to be, because Samaje Perine does catch passes and is a good pass blocker. Right. Carson Steele is a good between the tackles guy. He is a good short yardage specialist. So I agree with you. I think that it's going to kind of be spread out. Now, I'm not going to say that I didn't throw a contingency bid out on Kareem Hunt if I didn't get a guy who I was really into it. Like in one league, for example, I got Kareem Hunt as a contingency pick because I didn't get Bucky Irving in that league. A little bit more of a shallow league. Not a lot of bench spots. And so, I was sitting there and I was like, all right, I'm going to go after Bucky Irving. If I don't get Bucky Irving, and this is so funny that people actually don't do this. And for those of you out there, if you are new to fantasy football, if you're doing fab bidding, or even if you're doing waiver priority, you always have to set yourself up with contingency picks, right? Exactly. Tier it, and I had it. I was like, I think I put 21 on Bucky Irving, 18 on Kareem Hunt. And all you do is you bid on a different guy, but all you do is drop the same player. So in this case, it was Audric Estime, who was, didn't have an IR spot. So I was like, all right, let me just dump off Audric Estime because he landed on IR. And so I set it up that way. $21 on Bucky Irving, drop Audric Estime. $18 on Kareem Hunt, drop Audric Estime. $16 on Emmanuel Wilson, drop Audric Estime. And that's how you do it. And you set up your waiver claims in that fashion. And then that way, once it's your turn in the waiver priority, the computer's automatically going to go. Like if Bucky Irving already went, or if Bucky Irving went for more money, then it automatically goes to your next guy. So there you go. I did end up with some Emmanuel Wilson in a couple of leagues with Marshawn Lloyd hitting the IR. I did end up with Kareem Hunt as a contingency pick. And then I'll tell you what else I went for? And I did it cheaper because I know everybody out there is going for Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson. But I went for Jordan Whittington. And it wasn't about all the hype and the pomp and the circumstance from the preseason. It was really just about, this is a kid who's not going to cost a ton. We don't know how the Rams are going to shake out. I'm comfortable with the rest of my wide receiver room, so why not take a chance?
Right, exactly. I mean, big fantasies got to you, Howard. They've gotten to you. There you go.
Jordan Whittington? Damn it. I try to avoid that.
No, I love that though, because I said the same thing. I was like, look, we know who Demarcus Robinson is. We know who Tyler Johnson is. This is the one wild card, right? He's the one wild card play. He could fall flat, because obviously in the preseason was going against a lot of backups at times. But I mean, that's the way I look at it. I'm like, if I need someone to start for me, I'll go for Demarcus Robinson or
right.
Not Tyler Johnson. Or when everything's even, sometimes we go for the tight end. But if it's a bench stash, go for the upside. So I'm with you. For the contingency picks, 2 weeks in a row now, it's kind of, I felt I've kind of, it's worked in my favor. The week one, I had claims in on Matthew Stafford with a contingency on Baker Mayfield. I ended up with Baker. That feels pretty good with all the Rams injuries. And then this week I had one in for Baker, but I said to myself, I'm not going to go crazy on Baker because I like Derek Carr too. And I ended up with Carr. So I think I'm going to be all right in those leagues. Everybody here, get your questions in the chat. We see them. We're just going to hit on a couple housekeeping things real quick, and then we're going to hit on some questions. Unless you want to jump in and do a couple. You know what? Let's do a couple quick ones before we do a game preview, Howard. What do you say? I see you looking for those glasses.
Right? I'm looking. Where
Dude,
are
you
they?
gotta the Twitch. You never know when Twitch is going to show up. I'll hit the first one here while Howard tries to find a pair of glasses. Millie Mills in the chat saying Tyler, Tajay Spears, Chuba Hubbard. I'm guessing that's Braylon Allen, Ty Chandler, or Trey Benson. Which RB would you stash in a 10-point PPR? So stash, definitely a different question than start. For me, honestly, at this point, the two best stashes are Braylon Allen or Trey Benson because we like the starter, we like the offense, and we've actually kind of seen a little bit of these guys, and we like what they were doing. So agree on that. If you had to pick one, Braylon Allen or Trey Benson, who do you like stashing better, Howard?
I'd probably say, both lead backs have some injury history to them. I would probably say that probably Trey Benson, probably the guy that I would do. Maybe that's just the Jet fan in me who's got the confidence in Breece Hall. But I'll tell you what, why not Chuba Hubbard? The Panthers are making the switch over to Andy Dalton. That is clearly going to help this team because Bryce Young isn't ready. Dave Canales, we still know that he loves to establish the run. Now, is it because the Panthers' offensive line is so crappy that we're going to ignore Chuba Hubbard here? Because I know that, both Braylon Allen and Trey Benson are better backs in my, in our opinion, over Chuba Hubbard. But where's the better opportunity?
So the key for me in this question is, he said stash in 10 team. So for me, if this was a start, it's Chuba for sure. I look at it and I'm like, all right, if you're because in this 10 team, he's probably loaded up. So that's why if it's for right now, I'd go Chuba, but I just worry Jonathan Brooks is going to come back too. So it's like if I'm throwing somebody deep on the last bench spot, I want that crazy upside. But I agree. Of those guys, Chuba is the only guy you could start right now. No question. We got a Jay Sergio, you know better. You know how many Jay Williamses there are in this league? I'm going to assume this is Jamison Williams, but it could be Javonte Williams. It's probably not Jamal Williams. Let's assume JMO, but Sergio, let us know which Williams we're talking about here. Jamison Williams or Olave?
Ooh. Oh, it's a trade offer. You got offered Jamison Williams for Olave. You know what? I don't necessarily know if I would take this. I like Olave. He's
Yes.
a good, solid possession guy, and they're using a West Coast style of passing now where he's going to start getting peppered with targets. And you look at what's going to happen, you know that the Dallas, not that Dallas, who the Saints playing this week?
The Saints are playing the Eagles.
The Eagles. So you know that they're going to focus on trying not to get beaten deep by Rashid Shaheed. That's what the Eagles are going to be playing for a lot, I think. That I think, Olave moves the chains. If this is a full point PPR, I'd rather have Olave as the chain mover than I would Jameson Williams, who's still the number 2, possibly number 3 target, depending on what you think of Sam Laporta.
Sergio, the guy that sent you this offer probably saw the tweet I sent this morning where I said, in the early season, you have to pay attention to game script. Each game not created equally. For instance, the Lions through 2 weeks have attempted 84 passes, which is double the number of pass attempts for the Saints, who have only attempted 40. Got to keep it in perspective. That's why we use target share. Because Jameson Williams' share of those 84 passes is actually lower than Chris Olave's share of the 40, right? Like Chris Olave got 7 targets last week. That's with the amount they threw, that's like 30% target share. Chris Olave is going to have good games. Howard, I love that call for this week, Howard. It's a perfect setup for him. We got everybody hanging out: Albert, Fatty, Jerry, Millie, Sergio, Mile High Luke, everybody in the house. Thanks for popping in. Sean wants to know, pick 2 for PPR, Howard. Spears, Waddle, Jaden Reed, Bucky Irving, and now with Skylar Thompson starting, Waddle's that's the question, right? It's
wow, like how ugly did it get this quickly?
Yeah,
Spears,
Jaden
Waddle,
Reed.
This is 2. You need 2 of these guys.
I know, and Malik Willis. Like it's like if you wouldn't have a question if the quarterbacks didn't get hurt, right?
Yeah. No, you definitely wouldn't. It'd be Waddle and Reed, and no question about it.
It might still
I'm
be
actually, I got to be honest with you, man. I think I would probably go with Reed, and here's the thing. Let's wait and see about Rachaad White's groin. Let's wait and see what his practice schedule looks like, because I don't mind throwing Bucky Irving in there with the way that they're utilizing him more and more. And if Rachaad White is limited with a groin injury, then Bucky Irving's gonna be the guy. But Spears is clearly behind Tony Pollard at this point in time right now. Clearly behind him. I hate Waddle so much with Skylar Thompson, though.
The Bucks play at 1:00 and the Dolphins play at 4. So you're going to know Rachaad White's. Tune in with Howard, with John and Pemba and I here on this channel. Inactives come out at 11:30, and we'll have a status for you on Rachaad White. So pop back in with us, Sean, and we'll steer you in the right direction there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tried to get P. Ryan. Jerry thinking Carr over Richardson.
Listen, that's, again, that's reactionary. It's totally reactionary, and we see it all the time in here. I'm of the mindset where I'm going to happily keep Richardson in my lineup and keep taking that upside, that rushing upside, because I don't think the Colts are really as bad as they look so far. And they look terrible. They look absolutely terrible right now. But I just don't think that the Colts are that bad of a team that Richardson's going to be a disaster. I like Derek Carr. I definitely do. I like what he's doing right now. But for the same token, it is definitely a run-first scheme there, and there's a lot of Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, and we say it over and over again for a reason. Mobile quarterbacks. The QB4 right now is Jaden Daniels. He has not thrown a touchdown pass yet. Yeah. So it's like it almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter with Richardson. All right, let's jump over real quick and just chat up this Thursday game. Again, get your questions in. We're going to hit them. We're trying to, doing starts sits the entire time is a little tedious. We want to give a little something for everybody. Thursday Night Football this week, the hottest team in football, New England Patriots, go in to face the New York Jets. Can you believe this?
You're not supposed to declare it like that. You're supposed to wait till I'm in the grocery store and I'm reaching for the eggs, and then you're just like, hottest team in football.
Yeah, that's it, man. But hey, you know what? It's crazy. First, I want your first reaction to this. The Jets 6.5-point favorites against New England. New England, I mean, that's not even I'm not even quite joking when I say that because New England won the first game. They took the Seahawks to overtime. Jets have looked, I mean, they're getting it together, but 6.5. What do you think?
This is one of those, and I've got my write-up over at Fantasy Alarm. The over-under's actually gone up. I actually had the over-under at 37.5, and I took the over on that because here's the thing. This is where it comes to when you're betting on a game and you're a contrarian bettor. Sometimes you just have to take and look at everything that you've seen through the first 2 weeks and throw it out the window. Because right now you're talking about, okay, if the Patriots beat the Bengals and then they took Seattle to overtime, why are the Jets, a team who's also 1-1, they got slapped around by San Francisco, and then they kind of just barely got by Tennessee. Let's face facts. If Will Levis didn't make a mess, then what happened? So why would the Jets be 6.5-point favorites over the Patriots if the Pats are the hottest team in football and they're playing the game so close? Like, why is that? Why does Vegas have it as such? And for me, it's week 3. Rodgers is getting back to being Rodgers. You've got Breece Hall there. And as nice as the Patriots have been through these first 2 weeks, they've also kind of taken teams by surprise. And now the Jets have had a chance to look at them and see what the defensive scheming is all about. So I'm taking the Jets, and I took the Jets laying the points. I took the over 37.5, and I'm fine with that.
Right. The Patriots have been playing very tight football, but when you have these corners, you can stack the box. You know what I mean? Everybody can go man to man across the board, right? Because it's like Jalen Polk against Sauce, Demario Douglas against Michael Carter. That's not going to be a problem. So I'm with you. I really think that this is going to be the start of a few shakeup games that will lead to Drake May getting the shot. I think eventually. On the Patriots side, I guess Ramondre Stevenson is a solid start regardless. I'm just giving the volume. The question is, can Hunter Henry do it again? We've been talking about him all off season. The fact that it's a new scheme, right? One that actually gets him screen passes. Last week he got a screen. He didn't get a single screen last year. Last week he got one, took it 35 yards, got a ton of targets. But again, it's hard to put him on a pedestal just yet because it's such a small sample size. And not only do we not know exactly what this team is, but there's a possibility that when Drake May comes back, when Drake May starts, if and when, it shakes things up. So I can't move Hunter Henry up to the very top yet, but I'm feeling good about it, Howard.
Listen, I'm definitely feeling good about it. We saw this. We called it. We told everybody, right? I mean, this wasn't like a tight end whisper. This was a tight end scream it from the rooftops, right? Alex Van Pelt, offensive coordinator. Jacoby Brissett, quarterback. It's exactly what we saw in Cleveland last year. Why wouldn't they, continue that game plan here in New England, especially when there aren't any clear-cut wide receiver ones?
Yep, 100%. On the Jets side, you're starting Garrett Wilson, you're starting Breece Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Lazard versus Mike Williams. It's still Lazard, or is Mike Williams did play a little more, but not even close to a 50% snap share? Do you think that's ever going to flip, or they're just both going to be kind of?
I do think it's going to flip as Mike Williams gets more comfortable with Aaron Rodgers. Listen, this could be the week that it does flip. What I said, why Alan Lazard ended up with 2 touchdowns in week 1 was the Jets were getting slapped around. And Aaron Rodgers just immediately turned to what he knows. He just, it was like he immediately went into like backyard football. He's drawing plays on the palm of his hand, and he's just telling Alan Lazard, okay, you go there, there, and there, and then I'll find you. And that's it. And the other guys are all standing in the huddle being like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's such a Rodgers thing, man. He's going to do that all year long, and he slows the game down and he calls the plays himself. So you just got to live with it. Why don't we give a couple underdog plays and then we'll get back into some questions. What do you say, Howard?
Oh, I'm definitely in for that. If you're done breaking it down, because listen, this is actually a really great time. So Underdog, if you guys haven't played over there, you need to just jump on over there. Go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog and use the promo code ALARM. You're going to get a 50% match on your first deposit up to $1,000. Now, listen, I'm obviously, I'm not going to throw in $1,000. However much you're going to throw into, they're saying 50% match on your first deposit, up to $1,000 plus 99% off on a special pick. That's what we're going here. So your first time deposit, fantasyalarm.com/underdog, promo code alarm, 50% match deposit up to $1,000 plus a special pick. And listen, just throw it in there, for that. Now they're running a site-wide special pick as well. And that's CeeDee Lamb, half a yard, like half a rushing and receiving yard. So total yard, they're labeling it. So that's like your gimme pick right there. Coop, I think since it's your Patriots and it's my Jets, I think we focus on a little Thursday night football here. I'm not saying we're going to make a bet on this game here because we both just said that we expect the Jets to win, but let's do it with some underdog picks here. You take a Patriot, I'll take a Jet, and let's see where we fall out.
Well, if that's easy for me, I think you know where I'm going, brother. I think our guy, Hunter Henry, the Hunter, gets into the hen house this week. Yes, I'm not going for any of the yards, receptions. I do like the higher on those, but if you go to Hunter Henry and his 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns, it's got a bonus on it this week. It's not just 1x, it's 2.66x. So if he scores a touchdown, your money gets multiplied, baby. So give me Hunter Henry. Last year, this guy scored 6 touchdowns, right? Which was actually the second most, tied for second most among tight ends behind only Sam Laporta on a team that only threw 16 touchdown passes last year, right? The corners on the outside are going to be a problem for the wide receivers. I think they're going to have to go over the middle. CJ Mosley said that he's a 50-50 to even play this week. I think Hunter Henry's in for a good game, and I think he finds the end zone here. And you can get 2.66. I even looked, Howard. If you pick him to have the first touchdown, it's like 6x. And I don't know. But I'm playing it safe with just a touchdown at any point. What do you got, Howard, for your Jets?
Nobody's playing it more safe than I am right now here. Like, I don't like betting on my Jets. I don't like doing it. But you know what? For making some higher or lower picks here on Underdog, I'll match you tight end for tight end. How about that? Right. From tight end whisperer to tight end whisperer, Tyler Conklin, lower than 2.5 receptions. The dude's seen 2 targets per game through the first 2 weeks. And New England, hottest team in football. Also seems to be one of the hotter teams against the tight end position. They rank 3rd in DVOA against the tight end position. We did see a touchdown from Mike Gesicki get called back in week 1, but they still held him to 3 catches for 18 yards. And then, again, I'm not a Noah Fant guy, but they definitely held him in check, in that game against Seattle. So knowing that Rodgers has only targeted Tyler Conklin twice in each of the last 2 games, 2.5 receptions, got to go with the lower here, and that's working in my favor because 2, I'm fine with that. So there you go. Like, I think this is going to be perfect here for you guys because you're going to get that CeeDee Lamb pick. My pick for Tyler Conklin. I mean, that's beautiful.
Kyle Duggar's going to erase Tyler Conklin, man. That's what's happening. Kyle Duggar has been the problem for tight end. That's right. See ya.
All right. So there you go, folks. Underdog. That's where you want to be playing this week. Coop's playing there. I'm playing there. It's such a great place to go with your pick'em contest. You're higher, you're lower on the stat lines. Again, sign up at fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Promo code alarm. Get you a 50% match deposit up to $1,000 right now, plus a 99% off on a special pick, like your CeeDee Lamb, half a total yard kind of a thing. So get involved in Underdog. You're going to have an absolute fantastic time. Build that bankroll, baby. Build that bankroll. All right, Coop. Let's get back to it here.
I wish they had that. I would have put $1,000 in if they had that when I first signed up. I think they gave me like $20 when I first signed up.
You could have put $2,000 in. They would have given you a 50% match.
Yeah. Andrea Cooper-Chowski's about to be logging in on a new account this week with that bonus. You know what I'm
Ooh.
saying? All right, let's get
Cooper Chowski.
all right, let's get back to the chat here. Last thing we hit was Jerry's question there.
Carr
Greg,
over Richardson. Yeah.
Greg
Okay.
Martinez wants to know how Alaska is. Not there yet.
Not there
Greg.
yet.
Not there yet.
Next year, this time I will be.
Here's a good one, Sean. Hunter Henry or Pat Freiermuth? I like stashing Freiermuth, but I have a difficult time starting him until Russell Wilson starts, man. Justin Fields is back to his old tricks. There's only 2 quarterbacks in the league that have not attempted a pass on more than 20% of their dropbacks. Either it's a scramble, a sack, a throwaway. It's Justin Fields and it's Jaden Daniels. They're just kind of running around all over, and it's just no good. There it is, the Twitch gang in the house. Brad McCoy, baby. Twitch glasses for the Twitch gang. Twitch is in the house. Would you guys be worried about having Ford and Zamir White as your RB2s? I have Waddle looking to trade for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Ford for ETN. Looking to trade Amon-Ra and Ford for ETN. Adams in London. Thoughts? So first question, would you be worried about Ford and Zamir White? Not this week. Last week I was, but this week I think the Raiders play Carolina, buddy.
Raiders play Carolina, and the and what's his face?
Browns play Giants. Yeah,
Browns playing the Giants. So yeah, I like Jerome Ford and Zamir White both this week for sure. If those are your RB2s, yeah.
Amon-Ra and Ford for ETN, Adams in London is something that I'm personally am doing.
Yeah, listen, if you're going to get those 2 receivers and ETN because you're getting Amon-Ra and Jerome Ford, that is a no-brainer for me. You know, I mean, especially we don't know what Nick Chubb's situation is going to be like. He could come back. He might not come back. But what we do know is now is that Jerome Ford is that lead running back. But what happened with garbage time last week? They were up 2 scores in the second half against the Jaguars, and good old Deonta Foreman came in and out-touched Jerome Ford. So,
yep.
I like that move.
And I'll tell you, with Nick Chubb, like
no comments here, huh, Coop? Come on, I come through.
Oh, you got them. Oh yeah, those are rowdy, bro. Those
come on, man. My Elvis glasses too.
Beautiful, dude.
They're gold.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm glad you found. It only took you 5 shows to remember to have those within reach of your desk. So I don't know how much kudos I give you, but they are sweet.
What about up yours, Coop? Let's move on.
Nick Chubb, yeah, and with Nick Chubb, we in our minds we think, oh yeah, 4 games he'll be back and he'll be 100% after four games. That's not always how it works. Michael Thomas, notoriously, they put him on the 4-game IR and he'd miss 27 straight games. So be very careful with thinking that you're just going to get Jonathan Brooks and Nick Chubb back in 2 weeks and it's all going to be gravy. Let's see, Adam Brunchin in the house. What's up, Brunch? 0.5 PPR tight end. Do I keep rolling out Kincaid or plug in Henry, Gesicki, or Ertz? So I'm going to say a no on Gesicki or Ertz.
I'm still rolling out Kincaid.
Me
I
too.
don't care.
I have Kincaid ranked ahead of Henry this week. Look, we love Hunter Henry. We're glad we have him. He still is one of those guys where, like, look, if you went yin and yang tight end, you have to start him. If you just grabbed him because you're smart, but you still have a high-end tight end, roll with it. I tweeted out today, Cole Kmet in 2022, through 2 weeks, had 0 points, not a point. He finished as a tight end 7. It's only 2 games. It's a small sample size. It's a difficult position. Got to give it a little time. Nobody on that team has more than 8 targets, right? Or, yeah, like it's still being sorted out. We like Whitting. Greg finding out that I'm white. Yes. He could have the juice. Okay, here we go. Celtics. World champion Celtics. What's going on?
Hottest team in basketball.
Hottest team in basketball. World champion Celtics 679 says traded Nico, Devontae Adams, Tony Pollard, JSN, Ferguson, Dallas so he traded teams with another team. Which of these teams do you like better, Howard?
I gotta be honest, man. I hate these big ass.
We don't got time to think about that trade, but I think I like the CD Laporta side.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely you're consolidating a little bit more. You're getting a superstar in CD Lamb, you're getting a superstar in Laporta. Diggs is high end. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I'm against these kind of like, I'm gonna trade everybody away.
Right. Yeah, Jerry, doors closed today. We will not have any intruders, unfortunately. Hopefully, if we do, they will be clothed, unlike yesterday.
Wow, did he just refer to Laney as an intruder?
from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. She is an intruder in this room. Every other time of day, she's very much welcome.
Wow.
Trade Kyler and Ridley for Evans, Dell, and Jaden Daniels. Superflex.
Trade Kyler and Ridley for Evans, Dell, and Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Kyler's awesome. I trust Kyler more than I trust Jaden Daniels right now.
No question. Jaden Daniels hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. Kyler looks awesome.
Ridley is better than Dell. So then, I mean, yeah, you're getting like the extra boost there in Evans, but you're going to start Evans, you're going to start Daniels, right? Just like you're starting Kyler and you're starting Ridley. Is Dell going to make it into your lineup enough in order to make this move, like to downgrade at QB the way you're doing it? I don't know.
Kyler Murray is especially in Superflex. Kyler Murray is the QB1 this year and the QB3 all time in fantasy points per game. Kyler Murray's awesome in fantasy football. You say what you will about being first in the chow line or whatever. I do not care about the Cardinals winning games. Fantasy football, Kyler Murray rocks. End of story. Should I trade A.J. Brown for Rashee Rice? Whoa.
No.
If you're 0-2, maybe. But otherwise, no, right?
Maybe if you're 0-2 doesn't bother me at all. 0-4, different story. 0-2. Listen, man, I've finished. I've started the season 0-3, 0-4, and I've gone and I've made the playoffs. And in some leagues, I've won championships like that. I've done it. I mean, that's just, that's the problem. You cannot sit here and just panic over a guy like A.J. Brown, back end of the first round pick. Rashee Rice, 4th round pick. Right? I'm not saying it's all about the draft capital, but it's about the level of player that you're dealing with. And while A.J. Brown might be out for a couple of weeks, once he comes back, I fully expect him to continue to ball out.
Right. A.J. Targets are targets, but A.J. Brown does things that Rashee Rice does not at this stage and maybe never will. It's just A.J. Brown is a yak monster. He's a contested catch. And like A.J. Brown's just awesome. Rashee Rice is a good player for sure and a good offense, but he ain't A.J. Brown. If A.J. Brown was on the Chiefs, he would have 2,000 yards. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, and Kupp for Kamara and Ayuk? So, I don't know, man.
Trade Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, and Kupp for Kamara and Ayuk. I mean,
you are desperate at wide receiver.
I mean, if you're really desperate, but yeah.
Oh, here's the rest of the context. Full PPR, I'm 2-0, and he has Bijan. So he would have Bijan, Kamara, and Ayuk.
What's wrong with Bijan and JT? I mean, that's,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
you can start Dobbins in the flex. Dobbins is what, the RB3 right now? RB4?
Yeah.
He's RB2 in yards from scrimmage. Yeah, I would just keep what you got. Would you drop Thielen for Christian Kirk in full? Yeah, I think.
Yes, I would.
General, yeah. Followed your advice. Bender did not bid on Hunt. Yes. Yeah, we just let somebody else pay too much for him. Do I start Kirk, T-Law, or Darnold? So Kirk Cousins this week, he plays on Monday against the Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence is playing the Bills in Buffalo, and then Sammy D has Houston. So they're all kind of shootout games, potential games.
Yeah.
You can't start Kirk Cousins right now. He looks like garbage, dude.
He did not look good. I mean, even that last drive was a good drive for him, but even so, I'd probably just I'd stick with Lawrence. I don't like this matchup from Minnesota this week.
No, I don't love it either. Let's go Lawrence right now, especially if Ingram finds a way to play, then it's definitely Lawrence.
Yeah.
Then at the flex, it's Deontay Johnson, Hunter Henry, or Brian Thomas Jr. I'll say this, Howard. I usually do not like Brian Thomas Jr. This week, I do like the matchup. It's the Bengals, and they've been kind of giving up some yards.
It's the Bills, actually.
Bills, sorry. It's Brian Thomas Jr.
Sorry.
I'm thinking of Brian. I was thinking of Brian Robinson Jr. Well, either way, I like Brian Thomas Jr. in this question.
Yeah, and you might as well pair him up there with Trevor Lawrence, right? I like Deontay Johnson with Andy Dalton under center, but we still have to see what happens with this offense. What happens with this offensive line? Like, I'm happy to stash Deontay, but yeah, I'll go with Brian Thomas in this one here, especially because the Bills secondary really isn't as strong as everybody was hoping it would be.
Yeah, John's been sending me Brian Thomas Jr. clips just because week 1 I was like, I don't know if I want to start him, and John was like, nope, he's awesome. So now every time someone posts any clip, it gets him sent to my inbox, and I will say he looks pretty good. So shout out Pemba. Vele. So Devon Vele, if he plays, Greg Dortch, Chuba, Antonio Gibson, or Zeke. Really not a good matchup for Zeke, but he's in full PPR.
Let me tell you a little
maybe
something
Dortch.
about Greg Dortch, my friend.
Oh, here we go.
Greg Dortch, who plays the slot position for the Arizona Cardinals, is facing the Detroit Lions, whose slot coverage has now already allowed 21 catches for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns to slot receivers from the Rams and from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I'm not saying that Greg Dortch is Cooper Kupp or even Chris Godwin, but opportunity's knocking, and you got to open the door.
Do it up. I'm with you, man. Dortch, I mean, the thing is, when he's on he doesn't play every snap. But when he's out there, he gets the ball. And I mean, what more can you ask for? Sergio, thoughts on Scary Terry? It's pretty scary, buddy. Bengals this week, so he's going to face Cam Taylor-Britt, who's actually one of the hotter corners right now. Made that crazy one-handed catch. I tried not to hottest corner football. He was also very mean to Xavier Worthy, which I always enjoy. I like when these guys talk trash. I don't know. I try not to start him if you can avoid it. Do I trade Moss and Henry for Jamar? And I'm assuming this is Derrick Henry.
Is it Derrick? I mean, Moss and Derrick Henry for Jamar Chase? I mean, you got to have some serious depth at running back in order to make that move. Now, if it's Zach Moss and Hunter Henry, 100%.
Yeah, of course.
100% make that move. But if it's Derrick Henry, I'd like to know who your other running backs are that you can make this kind of a move.
Yeah.
But I think Jamar Chase is going to go banana cakes this week against the Commanders and Benjamin St. Just.
Yeah. Why the Commanders were tweeting out like CB1 highlights of St. Just, and I'm like, I guess he is their CB1. So they can tweet stuff like that. Michelle, PPR flex, JMO, Shakir, or Steele. It's got to be JMO right now.
Got to be JMO.
Yeah. Too hot. He's too hot.
I mean, he's hot, but I mean, again, the Lions are taking on the Cardinals, 52.5 over under. We expect these teams to be slinging the rock. And don't worry so much about Jared Goff on the road because it's a controlled environment there in Arizona. So I'm not worried about, that kind of travel there. So JMO for me, 100%.
Yeah, agreed. Why don't we take 2 seconds here just to hit on our favorite matchups for this week then, and we'll pop right back in with some more of your start sits.
Hello, favorite matchups.
Hello.
How you doing?
What's up?
Oh, I thought you said you wanted me to hit on them. That's about as much game as I got, dude.
That was pretty good, dude.
Married 20 years, God damn it.
Lions Cardinals, how you doing? 52 and a half, huh? How you doing?
I love
points
that.
Here?
Oh, really? Are we? Come on. Come on. Listen, I'll do it. All day long. Lions, Cardinals, that over-under, I think that's going to be the shootout. Eagles, Saints, again, I think that one's going to be a super fun one there as well. It's like 49.5. Ravens, Cowboys. It's kind of funny because Cowboys are really good they've been good against the tight end. Their linebackers do well in coverage. They suck against the run. Give me a ton of Derrick Henry this week against this Dallas defense because they struggle against the run. We saw that last week as well. Now, different blocking scheme in Baltimore than it was in New Orleans, right? You don't have that zone scheme that they like to run in, that Kubiak and Dennison run, but you're also dealing with a different offensive line that's still it's learning its way, but they're definitely going to be doing some power gap blocking, pushing and shoving around there, trying to open up those holes for Derrick Henry between the tackles.
Boom. Those are the 3 big ones, 100%, man. Lions, Cardinals, Eagles, Saints, Ravens, Cowboys. And the big thing with those ones against some of the other ones is that the spreads in those games are also close. That's the real shootout formula is high over under plus close spread. I think it's 2.5 in the Lions game, 2.5 in the Eagles game. And I think the Ravens, Cowboys is 1, right? That's close to a pick 'em there. Some of these other ones with the high over unders, Commanders, Bengals, which side do you think the points are on? And I'll tell you, it's not the Commanders. You know what I mean? It's Chiefs, Falcons, Texans, Vikings. Like these, some solid games for fantasy. But those three that you highlighted there, Howard, Trey Bone, those are the ones. All right. Since we're short on time here, let's just get right back into these questions.
Are we
Let's
short on time? Damn, look at that.
we
You've been
always
yammering on for like 40 minutes, dude. Like, shut
yeah,
up already.
pay, dude. We had to talk about the hottest team in football, dude.
You
All
know, I
right.
get that. I get
I
that
don't
on
even
the
remember what
on the back channels of the Fantasy Alarm Show because Wags and Shen are both Steelers fans.
Yes, dude. Hottest teams, bro. Look out now. Flexing McLaurin and JMO. Do I throw Zamir in?
I
Maybe
would
over
put Zamir in
McLaurin.
over McLaurin.
Agreed. 100%. Buck should be up, and if White is hurt, they'll run Bucky. I'm with you. We like Bucky, man. Injury bug has been crazy, man. Wait and see on Ayuk or put Neighbors in. I mean, Neighbors is kind of awesome.
Neighbors is kind of awesome. You got a good secondary there though for Cleveland. You're going to be going up against Denzel Ward, right? I think they've got Greg Newsome there on the other side as well. I think that's that should be kind of interesting. They also have a really good pass rush for Cleveland, and that's going to put the Giants offensive line and Daniel Jones on their heels, I think.
Yeah. Now, let's say you're sitting there. It's 12:30, and you've got Neighbors and Ayuk, and you also have Juwan Jennings. The 49ers play at 4:30, and we don't know if Ayuk's going to play. Do you just start Neighbors, or do you wait and see on Ayuk and possibly play Jennings?
I would probably pick up Jennings and just wait on him because if Ayuk doesn't play and Debo's out, Jennings is going to get a ton of looks.
Yeah, they're playing the Rams. So yeah, there you go. All right, Mark. Mixon possibly out for a couple weeks. Would you rather have Akers or P Ryan? Rather have P Ryan because Damian Pierce is coming back, I think, and Cam Akers, I don't think he's that good.
He's also got a strong case of the fumbles.
Yeah, and quietly, Dare Ogunbowale has already played a decent amount of pat snaps, even when Mixon was playing. So I think he's going to be the pass down guy.
My
Dare.
compliments on the Ogumbawale pronunciation there. I had that moment with Jim Bowden on the show last night, actually, similar to what I had with Impemba and Andre Yosivash.
Yes, I always remember how to say it because on the morning show with Simon and JL, we used to sing Dare Ogunbowale. You
Oh,
know,
there you
so
go.
there you go. It's right in there. Thank God Levis sucks. Hey, be careful.
Hey,
Be careful in here. Drop Leggett for Thielen? Probably.
I mean, I don't really see it being necessary.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I guess if you were going to start Thielen, Thielen probably a safer start right now, but the rookies always have the higher long-term upside. Do you think there's a chance they put Sauce on Henry? Absolutely not. Sauce Gardner, one of the few corners that like never goes in the slot. I think last year he had like 4 slot snaps, Howard. Like he just doesn't unless it's a very specific unless it's like goal line and everyone's on man-to-man zero coverage and his guy motions into the slot, like he doesn't go in there. But I mean Michael Carter's in there anyway, so it's
Yeah,
not like
folks, the
they
Jets don't need to move
they
Sauce
don't.
Gardner onto Hunter Henry. They don't need to do that. Therefore,
Right.
they won't do that.
They won't do it. But if they put Michael Carter on Hunter Henry, it's going to be a long day for Hunter Henry. No question about that. So hopefully they get creative with that so we get some points. Drop Madison for Foreman, PPR.
No, you're spinning your wheels there. No, you
Yep.
don't need to.
Starting Henry over Pitts. I've been going back and forth on that too, and I think I'm just going to start Pitts.
I'm staying with Pitts too.
One more week for Pitts, and then then we can freak out. Trade or hold Singletary. For example, Singletary, McLaurin for Irving Olave.
I'm holding Singletary for the time being, and I think this is going to be a an interesting couple of weeks for him as well. He's going to get the volume. The Giants are going to fall behind. The Giants aren't going to play great football, but having an the lead RB in there to kind of serve as your depth. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he's the only show in town. Jerry said somebody offered me a ride for Chase straight up. Where they offer you a ride to? If it's to Disneyland's, yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
Depends what your buy-in is and where you're trying to go. Let us know. Oh, he said rice for Chase. There it is.
Keep Chase. Ask for a ride to Disneyland instead.
See if you can parlay that into a ride to Disneyland, dude. Unless you're in Florida already, then it's not.
Well, then you want to go to Disneyland in California.
Yeah, Disneyland. Oh, yes, exactly. Disney World is in Florida. Smart. Yeah. So I don't know. Rice for Chase?
No,
I'm sticking with Chase.
Chase.
The upside is it's there. It's still there. And Howard, I said on this show and on the other show, I need to see Joe Burrow look like Joe Burrow. Looked a lot more like Joe Burrow. Looked a lot coming off, it's like, he's going like this because it's like when you sprain something or you have surgery, it's like you got to keep it loose. I think he looked a little better this week. He's going to keep looking better.
He said, if you don't move it, you lose it. That's what he said. Direct quote from Joey B.
That's right, dude. It's all on the wrist.
It's all on the hip.
Start Tyreek or Shaheed as the lead, as the driver of the Shaheed bus, beeping the horn. Even I would still start Tyreek. All you got to do is get the ball. Dude, if they can just get the ball to Tyreek on a couple slants, that dude is just magic, man.
Yeah.
He's incredible. I have Adams and then Pollard on my flex. I mean, what's wrong with Devontae Adams? He's like wide receiver 9, right?
There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, get him in there. Start Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams.
I mean, Devontae Adams versus Pollard. If that's the question, yeah, I'm definitely doing Devontae Adams. Tyreek and Adams. That's amazing, right? Those were your first 2 picks in your draft this week, and you're already talking about benching both.
Dude, I am ashamed to admit that in a league where I drafted at the 14 spot, and I went 14-15, where I drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. with one of those picks, I briefly had him on my bench last week I think on like Wednesday. And then I came to my senses. I was like, what am I doing? And I put him back in my lineup. And he scored 2 touchdowns. So I was like, okay, thank goodness. But there was a moment where I was like spite benching him. So I don't know. I could feel it. I could feel the heat. Hey guys, full PPR, Amari Cooper or Kincaid? Now that's a real question. Amari Cooper has 5 catches on 15 targets for 27 yards. Bro, what are you doing, dude? I think you're still going to start Amari because he's getting the targets.
He's not starting. No. This looks like a trade question here. His other wide receivers are Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Tolbert, DeAndre Hopkins. He's got Goddard and Henry. I would do this. I would make the trade. I would trade Cooper for Kincaid. Absolutely. And then just drop Goddard. Get rid of Goddard. You don't need him.
Throw Goddard in there. See if you can upgrade it further, a little bit. If you're going to drop Goddard anyway, be like, hey, why don't we do a little 2 for 2? Thoughts on me trading for Ridley? My wide receivers are London, Godwin, Kirk, Dubs, Thielen, Downs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with doing it. It just depends on what what you have to give up. Where are your strengths? Do you, are you strong at running back that you can trade a depth running back for Ridley, but I'm not overpaying for him.
Yeah. My question is, why specifically target Ridley, or were you offered a trade? Because if I'm going out and I'm like, who am I buying right now? I don't know if Calvin Ridley's top of that list, personally. Henry or Ingram? I mean, you got to start Henry this week because Ingram's might not even play and he might not be fully healthy. So if that's a start sit, then that's an easy one. If it's an add drop, then
I'm not giving up on Ingram yet. No,
I'm
not giving up on the Jags yet. I think it's too early. I love Hunter Henry and I love using him as a stopgap right now. In some leagues, Hunter Henry is my top tight end. I just waited on the position completely because I didn't get one of the targeted guys. So, I think it's fine. But again, it's just too early to be giving up on a player when it's not about where you drafted him. It's about the research that led you to picking him in your draft. If you just haphazardly picked him because you're like, oh, well, he ranked 7th among tight ends, so I might as well grab him. But if you did the analysis and you looked at exactly why he was ranked where he was ranked, then you know that it's about exercising some patience right now at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, drop somebody else if you can.
Before you do that, Michelle actually has a follow-up. She just tweeted at us here. She said, thank you for telling me to start Jameson Williams in a PPR flex. She's also starting Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. Is it not a good risk to start 3 players from the same team? She's got Shakir and Steele as possible flex options as well. So in this case here for this week, because it's the highest point total on the slate, I'm fine using these 3 Detroit Lions. In the future, you might want to say about adjusting, maybe make a trade or something like that just to diversify the teams that you're covering here. But for this week here, Michelle, I think you're okay.
Yes, and always go over to the Fantasy Alarm Vegas odds page where it breaks down the implied point totals, and you'll see that when you're thinking about these games in that fashion, the Lions have one of the highest implied point totals of any team, whereas a team like the Titans, where they're underdogs in a game with a 36.5 over under, like I'd start every Lion over any Titan. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. So always check on that stuff. Real quick, what we're going to do, we'll hit on our must start plays of the week this week and some must sits, and then we'll just go back and just rattle questions until the end of the show. So last week, if you were hanging out with us, boy, were these must starts good. We were looking for guys that were kind of on the fringe, maybe on your bench, and they pretty much all hit. I had Chris Godwin, Rashid Shaheed, Baker Mayfield. Howard had Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors getting 1 million targets. J.K. Dobbins once again having like 100+ yards for scrimmage. So, boom, shakalaka. We also told you to sit guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Watson, who had 0 points, 0.0, right? Howard told you not to start any Packers wide receivers, in fact, which is a pretty good start. So, last week, good job by us. This week, Howard, who you got? Must start. Hit me with one.
All right, just one? Let me rattle them off real quick. So
Hit all 3 of them. Hit all 3 of them.
Yeah. George Kittle, 100%, especially with Ayuk banged up. You're going to need to get him into your lineups here. It's a great matchup. Number 2, Greg Dortch. I said it earlier. Slot receiver for Arizona going up against Detroit, who has been terrible in slot coverage. Number 3, give me some Geno Smith here at home against Miami. They are a team in turmoil right now, traveling across country. Defensively, they've been roughed up as well. So give me that old Geno, that punchable face of Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. For me, I got some fringe guys here. Hunter Henry, for me, I'm starting him in this situation over a lot of guys. I already mentioned over Evan Ingram, over the whole Goddard range. We have him in the 10-1 range. Go to Fantasy Alarm. All my rankings are up there. So Hunter Henry, a must start for us. Javonte Williams this week, I'm throwing in must start territory simply because if you look at this Buccaneers defense, they're giving up they're kind of just letting teams throw to the running back. That's been the trend so far. That's what Joe Lombardi wants to do. I could see Javonte Williams racking up the receptions here, and he's playing way ahead of Julian McLaughlin. Other guys.
I hope so. From your lips to God's ears, please.
And this is the last time I'll be able to say it, but I keep getting Rashid Shaheed start sit questions. And yes, we did say start Tyreek Hill over Rashid Shaheed, but find a way to get Rashid Shaheed in your lineup because he's doing what he's doing on the team that has thrown the fewest passes in the league so far. Now they play the Eagles. It's going to be huck it, chuck it football. Guys like Chris Olave and Shaheed. If you had questions about whether to start those guys or not, get them in there. All right. Howard, a couple guys to avoid.
Well, I'm avoiding all Broncos, despite the fact that you just said.
Right. Well, the rest of them definitely avoid.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm putting Matt Stafford on the bench this week. I'm a little concerned about him just with the targets. The offensive line looks roughed up. I'm very nervous about Stafford. If you have a different option there, like a Geno Smith, maybe you make that happen for yourself. And then finally here, I'm putting Mike Gesicki on the bench this week. I don't like the matchup here for him. Listen, I know he had a great game last week. What is it? 7 catches, 91 yards.
Whoops.
Oh, you're putting me on front and center here, huh? Oh, I was going to say, right?
That was kind of cool for a second. But yeah, no, you're right.
Going up against Washington, who actually, has handled the tight end fairly well so far this season. So I also think that T. Higgins might be back for Monday Night Football.
Yes, and that is scary because you have to wait till Monday on that. And Mike Gesicki hasn't even played half the snaps. So be very careful with those guys. For me, I'm not interested really in starting any Cowboys running backs against the Ravens. The Ravens are so far in 2 games have let up They're averaging less than 60 yards rushing, which obviously leads the league. It's ridiculous, but not really starting those guys. I am worried about Michael Pittman. I'm worried about the ability of. I'm not only worried about the ability of Anthony Richardson to throw in the intermediate range, but I'm also Jalen Johnson's really good, and he's going to be all over.
Yeah.
He's going to be all over him. And then Jalen Waddle is one we've already talked about, man. With a backup quarterback, Tyreek Hill, I can stomach it. Jalen Waddle, I know, wasn't really even doing anything kind of so far as it was. So Skylar Thompson is going to support 2 fantasy relevant assets. I don't think so. So none for me. Let's get back into the chat here. We got to go a little bit rapid fire here.
All right, here, wait. I'm going to answer this one right now from Hal. Catalina Wine Mixer. Pow!
Pow! Right in the kisser.
Next.
Pow! Should I trade J.K. Dobbins for Derrick Henry?
Yes.
Yes.
I would.
Yep. J.K. Dobbins, for as good as he's been, they still split the snaps right down the middle once again. It's something you got to look out for. Send Monty and Higgins for Ayuk and Eckler.
No.
Yep. Got to keep you guys got.
No.
Think Mondre runs wild. Hottest team in football. Should I accept Rashi Rice and Tank Dell for Chase?
No.
Now we're talking, but still no.
No. I'm very much locking down Jamar Chase the rest of the way.
Yeah. Don't let your enemies consolidate. They're trying to build they're trying to assemble a super weapon, as they would say in Star Wars.
Especially if you're playing in like a 10-team league. Really, what's the value of Tank Dell? Like, you never know when you're going to start him because he's behind Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. Like, when do you know that he's going to pop? If you're playing in a 10-team league, Rice will go into your lineup, not as strong as Jamar Chase, and then you've got Tank Dell as a depth play. Ooh.
Yeah. No. Does Seattle suck against the tight ends? I mean, it's not at this stage. We're still working our way through what the good matchups are versus which ones aren't. I would worry more about what the usage is for Jonnu Smith before you're trying to bark up that tree, Hal. He's he played more than he did the week 1, but it's still a concern. Flex play, I can't decide. Tank, Quentin Johnston, Jerome Ford.
Tank, Quentin Johnston, or Jerome Ford. I actually really like Ford running up against the Giants this week.
Oh, yeah.
It's half-point PPR. I mean, I know that the ceiling is higher for Dell and for Quentin Johnston, but if Ford gives you 65 yards and a touchdown, that's not bad.
All right, Ted. Just mentally remember, you're not benching Tank Dell. You're starting Jerome Ford in a good matchup. Jalen Waddle or DJ Moore?
DJ Moore.
Yeah, agreed. Jalen Waddle's in big trouble. Reed, Higgins, Deontay, Shakir, Tyler Johnson.
I'll tell you what, you're going to probably want to hold Higgins and Shakir because they're both playing on Monday night, and that'll kind of, you'll be able to use Higgins if he plays, but if not, then you've got Shakir right there in the hopper, right? It's 2 Monday night football games this week. Which is cray-cray. So I don't know, man. I think I might go with I think I might try Tyler Johnson as one of the plays this week, because where else is Stafford going to throw the ball?
Right, at 4:25, and that's at 4:25 p.m. Like if it's really looking like Higgins is out, then just start Tyler Johnson. If it's looking like Higgins is gonna play, but maybe he's last minute scratch, you can start Higgins or Shakir.
Yeah, the beautiful thing is that today's only Wednesday, and none of these guys play for the Jets or the Patriots. So you're still going to get Friday and Saturday practice reports in to help make these decisions.
And we have a show tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m. with John and Pemba and Eric Romoff. And then we have another show where we have 2 more shows. You can call in on Sunday to Sirius XM, Howard and I 10 to 11. Right after that, 11 to 12 on this channel. John and I stay here and hit on virtually every start sit.
I sit in the Fantasy Alarm Discord for the 2 hours between the Sirius XM show ending on Sunday and kickoff. So you've got plenty of soundboards right there.
Yeah. All right. 1-word answers. Let's see how many we can get through in the next minute. Kincaid or Likely?
Kincaid.
Tolbert, Ty Chandler, Spears, or possibly Downs if he plays.
Give me Tolbert.
Yeah, I like Jalen Tolbert. Someone dropped Zamir White. Lost Mixon. Do I drop all my fab on Zamir White?
Not all of it, but a good amount. Absolutely.
$53. 53% of whatever your budget is. Amari Cooper or Jordan Addison rest of the season. Kind of like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I guess you could go with Addison there.
Nah, it's still Amari Cooper.
I just hate rest of season answers. It's week 3, guys.
Yeah, Pickens or Jennings this week.
Jennings.
Yeah, Pickens. I mean, dude, I just don't trust.
Don't trust Fields.
Miles say CMC retires. That ain't happening. Schultz or Hunter Henry? Hunter Henry, dude. Hunter in the.
Although I do like Schultz this week. I definitely do. It's a good matchup.
Right. It's just that with all those wide receivers, man, it's real tough.
Henry.
Rashi or Nico? Dude, both been white hot.
Both been white hot. I'm going to go Rashi here as the clear-cut number 1.
Yep, and that's a good matchup for him. Should I drop Pitts for Hunter Henry? Do not drop Pitts. Even drop someone else to add Hunter Henry. Do not drop Kyle Pitts. I don't think it's a good idea. Hill, Collins, Adams, Neighbors.
Hill, Collins,
Adams for Pollard was the trade.
Oh, Adams for Pollard? Nah.
Yeah, exactly. Ramondre or Pollard?
This week I would probably do Ramondre.
Yes, agreed. Mike Evans going up against Patrick Surtain, certain death over there, or Rashid Shaheed. It's still Mike Evans. Surtain has been.
I'm still going with Mike Evans. I don't think it's certain death against the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean he's been real good. All right, last one here from Shmuley Gansberg. Wide receivers are Debo, JSN, Shaheed, Pierce, whatever starting HN. Are there any RB2 types you try to target with the wide receiver death? I mean, that's too deep a question for rapid fire, buddy. Last one is going to be: would you drop?
I'll say go for a guy like Dobbins. If you're looking for an RB2, go for a guy like Dobbins right now. I know he's hot, but if you're going to trade that kind of a player, you might as well go for a guy who's playing well.
All right. Last one for the Twitch gang. Drop Thielen for Christian Kirk.
Yes, I am dropping Thielen for Christian Kirk. I still believe in Christian Kirk. I know the Jags will figure it all out. I'm staying with Christian Kirk.
Boom, shakalaka. From here, us in the Fantasy Alarm Studios, thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you didn't get your question answered, drop it in Discord or jump in tomorrow for our show, 7 to 8 p.m. right here on this channel. Hit like, hit subscribe.